I consider myself a Deandre Ayton fan, and it kills me that after almost every loss, warranted or not, the finger of blame almost always ends up pointed in his direction. Hit the like button for us and tell us in the comments below, do you want DA to be with the Suns next year? Or like many other Suns fans, are you just done? So in game 2 of the Nuggets series just the other night, Chris Paul started heating up late in the game like he normally does when and if he has it going at all, only to pull his groin after 3 consecutive mid-range jumpers fell. After which, the Suns were outscored by Denver 41-28. Also, Kevin Durant finally took the number of shots that Suns fans have been clamoring for. But in a wild stroke of misfortune, he was uncharacteristically inefficient, going 10 for 27 from the field. In fact, he went 2 for 12 from the three-point line, and one of his threes actually went in off the backboard, so it could have easily been 1 for 13 from 3. 9 times out of 10, Kevin Durant is going to hit around 17 to 20 of those 29 shots, which could have adjusted the score 14, 16, honestly all the way up to 20 points extra for the Suns, who ended up losing by 10. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, congratulations. Probably seems like I'm about to give Deandre Ayton a pass. Don't worry, I'm not. As an Ayton fan, I'm worried. I'm worried that what I'm seeing is the same DA that I saw last year in the playoffs versus the Mavericks. Bottom line, I feel like his confidence level is just not as high as it could and should be. I also fear that he could be suiting up to, quote, anchor the Phoenix Suns on offense and defense with his Tesla fully charged battery for the last series and time ever. So I tweeted after game 1 that I believe Deandre Ayton in his post-game press conference when he said that the energy and effort would be much better in game 2. And for the most part it was. But it did not translate to DA's stat line. It was basically the exact same as game 1. 14.7 rebounds and 14.8 rebounds just ain't gonna cut it versus the Joker. I'm sorry. This series isn't over, and the Suns can absolutely come back to win, but not without a real return from playoff Ayton, or dominating, whichever you fancy calling him. The Suns need DA at minimum to start getting his offensively, to negate the stat-stuffing performances by Joker. But the situation is very simple. If this less than stellar effort and poor statistical output continues this series, and the Suns get bounced here in the second round, which is looking more and more likely every day, it's going to be extremely hard to justify him being on a max contract. And with the Suns' clear and obvious desperation for depth, illustrated by Game 2's 4 points scored by the bench, it's likely DA will end up being the scapegoat, for better or worse, for this Suns team. Now, Monty Williams has been outcoached time and time again, and I know and feel he deserves just as much to be scapegoated and moved on from. But I can't see that happening. Not after DA has put this target on his back, this playoff series and the last, going all the way back to the Mavs and Pelicans series as well. Chris Paul, who's now likely done for the playoffs, could also and should be scapegoated, but he's locked into a $30 million contract with $15.8 million guaranteed next season. And I can't imagine any team being dumb enough to take him off of the Suns' hands at age 38. I also can't imagine him not keeping and swimming in that money like Scrooge McDuck. Which brings us back to DA. A much more manageable and movable contract. He's 24 years old, and it's reasonable to believe that another team will be willing to try to get the best out of him where the Suns could not. Next live stream is, of course, Friday, where this storyline will continue to play out in front of our very eyes. Sundo and I can't wait to see you there. Until then, go Suns.